Hello, good evening, welcome back. This is In the Know, brought to you by the Racing Post and Coral on, post day 3, of course, of Royal Ascot, getting ready for day 4. And it was red hot today. I mean, quite frankly, at the start of Royal Ascot, everyone was saying, do we need to have Frankie Dettori in every single headline? Do we need 5, 6, 7 pages? Every single angle of his runners and riders and chances and possibilities. But quite frankly, if you were going to write one headline pre-Royal Ascot, it would be Frankie winning the Ascot Gold Cup on his final ride. On a horse, stepping up from handicap, company for the first time, trained by the Golstons, who quite frankly do things that other trainers could only dream of. It was a dream finish, of course, in the big race today with Courage, Mon Ami, and quite frankly, some of the prices as well were shocking. The speeds were huge, but when you really think about it, Jamie Spencer winning a big field handicap from last to first at Ascot, Hayley Turner winning a big field straight course handicap at Ascot as well. Ballydoyle winning the Ribblesdale. The King bagging a winner. I mean, it's easy if you don't even think about it, isn't it? But maybe we're getting too stuck into the form. But that's the thing with Royal Ascot, isn't it? There's plenty of angles, plenty of ideas, plenty of opinions, and there's still 2 more days to go. Will the headlines get any bigger than today, though? It certainly would surprise me. But it's live and interactive if you're watching, so please do like that algorithm and get involved on the chat box as well. It's right in front of me now. To the left of me in the studio is Mr. Paul Kealy, who, I mean, the headlines are going to be, well, I mean, to be fair, every single race today, on a normal day, could have given you the headline, but we're gonna have to print a double issue tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, some brilliant racing, fantastic. But you got 150 to 1 winner, a 50 to 1 winner, a winner for the King, like you said, and then there's Frankie. Yeah, loads of stories. Great, wasn't it? Unless you were backing all the losers like I was again.
Well, I felt your pain because I genuinely my biggest bet of the week so far was Valiant King, who went everywhere.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
where I wanted him to.
Beaten by a horse who I had a good bet on for the London Gold Cup, and didn't run his race there, so, you know, sod's law again.
And you will be also on my side for bringing in the refunds if you get beaten by a horse on the other side after New Endeavour.
Yeah, absolutely. New Endeavour ran an absolute blind, and you think, oh well, he was on the wrong side. And of course, then you have the last race of the day, and first 10 were over that side, weren't they?
Yeah. Well, and the third and fourth were on that side as well. So I think it might well be that.
That's just madness, isn't it?
Just a bit unlucky.
It just goes to show. And the one thing, as we've been banging on about it for ages, and the one thing I actually like is they do seem to have been riding far more to their draws this year.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show that there isn't much in it.
No.
At all. And I think that's good for it. Like, you know what I mean? Because the times, you know, last year, they were all coming over to the stand side. Yeah. And if you're coming over to the stand side from stall 1, you haven't got any chance anyway. Because they do that move within the first 50 yards. So you're probably giving away 6 lengths when you do it. So, you know, shortest route was in a straight line. Unless you go really slowly from one side to the other, you're going to lose ground. So it is really, really good that they are genuinely riding to the draws.
Yeah, so you can just kind of put a line through. Is this a bad draw? Is this a good draw? I mean, even where's the pace, or you can turn your head upside down.
I mean, it's like Tom said. You know, just not consider about that. Just try and find the best horse and hope it pans out, and you end up being on the right side because end of the day, we don't know, do we?
No. Fair enough. What a day. What a day, Tom. I mean, headlines left, right and centre. I mean, I forgot to mention a couple as well. Of course, we had the Derby form boosted by Waipiro as well. It should be interesting tomorrow and gives Auguste Rodin a little bit of a boost for his superstardom next stallion bid. What was your highlight of day 3?
Oh, well, the Gold Cup's my favourite race of meeting every year, and lucky enough to land on it anti-post. So, yeah, watching Courage, Mon Ami. I don't know why they call these. Why is everyone calling it Courage, Mon Ami? And dramatised and all these funny things.
Tom, it's Royal Ascot. You've got to bring a bit of, je ne sais quoi to proceedings.
Hey, Tom, I must agree with that. I absolutely hate it when people call it the Kentucky Derby. Yeah. Well, what's the matter? It's a sackable offence for me, that would be.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I've never spoke to a French person and said, how do you pronounce courage? Maybe they do go courage, mon ami. I don't know. Maybe that's how it works. If you're half Yorkshire, half French, maybe that's how it works. I don't know.
I don't know. Well, mind you, having been called Tom Segal for about 25 years, I suppose what am I complaining about? Everyone's pronounced my name wrong for 25 years, but there we go.
Yeah.
No, I loved it. I thought it was absolutely great. Disappointing. Well, Courage, Mon Ami got me out of trouble, obviously. put me in front for the week, but 4 seconds today. So like it's like Cheltenham all over again. You know, Valiant King like you, Croupier and the Last Wedded Witch Hunter comes from New Endeavour with Keels, Exoplanet. You know, that wasn't unlucky, but you know what I mean. It's just it really is like Cheltenham these days. It's who's in front when the music stops, because you just don't know what's going to happen. And as Keel says, it's great that they're riding to their draw, but it actually makes it really difficult for punters, doesn't it? Because if the jockeys think there's a big high draw, at least you know they're going to go there. Do you know what I mean? Whereas now there were 4 groups in the last race, weren't there?
I mean, why split into 2 when you can split into 4, Tom?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, like I said, maybe we should get a shoot for each horse, and everyone could just crack on with their own little personal entourage.
Yeah, but as you say, though, it was great, though. I mean, there were so many stories today. I mean, the opening winner, had a look back on it, and it probably shouldn't have been 150 to 1 shot, should it? But still, it was a maiden running, and people thought was a really good race, and he absolutely bolted up. So, you know, you just get these. It's just Ascot. It's equine bingo, and you got to land on one.
Yeah, you have, absolutely. But like I said, plenty of.
I never had any luck at bingo.
No. Give it a few years, mate. You'll come around. You'll find your feet. Hello to everyone.
That shirt will suit you at bingo, Keels.
Will it?
Yeah.
Is that like an old man shirt, is it? Is that the...
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. I thought you were going on safari for a second. I quite like it. But, I mean, that's rich coming
I
from
am
me,
an old
isn't it?
man.
Yeah,
I'm growing into myself.
Well, I'm not saying what my brain wants to say there. Good evening to everyone watching at home as well. Rob Dixon, Morton Headhunter, Teletext Pair, Doghouse Riley, and Stevens99, who, please Stevens, please understand that I was joking when I was saying that all the winners were easy to find today. But you're right, I am normally an incredibly serious man. David Stevens, how have you enjoyed Royal Ascot Day 3?
Good evening, gents. Well, I've hung around at the racecourse in the expectation Coltrane was going to win the Ascot Gold Cup, but that pesky Italian came and won the biggest betting race of the week, much to the enjoyment of many, many people. Personally, the day was, well, it started with Malk each way in the first, and that was as good as it ever got, so it's more hard luck stories here. We've forgotten the 5 o'clock, the Britannia. Hayley, Turner and Harry Eustace didn't read the script because the bookmakers have got together and were going to donate all profits on the Britannia to charity. Fortunately, I can assure the charities we won't be going to them to make up the shortfall a while back winner that Docklands was. But that was today, first winner for the King at the Royal Meeting. Frankie winning the Gold Cup, the headlines write themselves. But we move on to tomorrow, and we'll start with a couple of price boosts. Obviously, 2 shorties tomorrow, which we'll be discussing later. Tahira in the Coronation Stakes, she's 4 to 7, but we're 4 to 5 up to 20 quid for the maximum, for the duration of this live show. And King of Steel later on in the King Edward is 11 to 10. We're 6 to 4 for the duration of this broadcast.
Lovely stuff. Thank you, David. I hope you had a great day. Now going to Tom for reaction to the bookies not having enough money to give to charity, and David Stevens not getting to celebrate a Gold Cup winner with his mates.
I know. Well, what a shame, eh? No friends, no racing friends.
Oh dear. Right.
I should just add, the bookmakers will be making a generous donation to the charities, lest anyone should think we are that evil.
Right. Yeah, I was just checking that. You're like, we'll give all the profits away. We haven't made any profits.
Most of us think that, don't we?
And as for your shirt, Tony Montana, your 1970 Miami drug dealer shirt, you're in no position to say anything.
Oh, that's it. He's fine. He's bitter. He's snapped. David
gone.
Stevens. Right. Okay. Let's crack on with more Royal Ascot action then on day 4 coming up after this. Right, let's have a look what we've got there. Well, what we've got is another big field 2-year-old race, so maybe we should start at the other end of the market. But Carla's Way is 4 to 1 favourite for the Albany opening day 4. Soprano is 9 to 2. Navassa Island is 5 to 1. Jabara is 6 to 1. Matrika is 6 to 1. Porta Fortuna is 13 to 2. Persian Dreamer is 18 to 1. Dawn Charger is 20 to 1, and it's bigger price as the rest. But again, plenty of other interesting runners, including a and a fairly impressive Donica O'Brien win last time out. We've got a Richard Fahey runner by Dubois, and of course he had a big runner today in the 2-year-old races, and loads of other ammo racing runners as well. They got their first Royal Ascot winner this afternoon, and they're throwing, well, plenty of dots at the board in the Albany Stakes. But there's been quite a lot of talking 2-year-olds this week, Tom, and Carla's Way has been, bizarrely, pre-Royal Ascot, probably the one horse tipped to me the most by people when I asked them what they fancied, which I wasn't necessarily expecting at the start of the week. But is this one going to go the same way as your Beautiful Diamonds and your elite statuses?
And there are sadness. Don't know. Might do. She was impressive, wasn't she? She was very keen. She was very keen, but she kept going at Doncaster. If she's keen like she was that at Doncaster, she won't win at Ascot. You've got to be able to settle at Ascot, otherwise you've got no chance. But she was very good. Cost a lot of money. Time was good. Nothing against Carla's Way, but I think it's a really good and quality race. But I've said that about all the juvenile races so far this season, and we've had 150-1 winners and left field winners left out of everywhere. So who really knows what's going to win? Because all these horses can make a massive step forward. Keel's been on the money all week saying that how do you bet in 2-year-old races when they're all going to take a massive step forward? And he's right. So a little bit, you're guessing here again. I did a piece for the Weekender on Navassa Island when she ran on her debut, saying she was very eye-catching and would be one for the Albany. I still believe that, but the price has gone. I always fall for Michael O'Callaghan at Ascot, and he's 0 from 23, I think. I've been so many times. He's a very good record at Goodwood. He has winners at Goodwood. He has loads of good 2-year-olds, but I fall for them every year and they never win. So that put me off, and I ended up going on my old friend Soprano. I don't know why he's an old friend of mine, because it's a she, and
she's only raced once.
And she's only won runs, but I like her a lot. I thought she was, when she won at Newmarket at the start of the season, I thought that's the best 2-year-old I've seen this season. Obviously, loads of them have come out the woodwork since, and and probably proven that to be false. But I was so impressed with her. I thought she hit the line really hard. I think she's really good. So I'm going to stick with Soprano over Navassa Island, who would be my second choice for sure. And I also think Person Dream is quite interesting. I would like some rain for her. I think the ground was too quick for her at York. Hopefully they'll put 4 or 5 mils on tonight. First race will be the time to get her, because if you go back to her Newmarket run, she was really impressive too. And the Ammo 2-year-olds are running absolutely blind this week, aren't they, with the third in the Coventry and 150-1 winner today. So I fancy Soprano to win it. Don't care about the draw. She's 16. The others are 1 or 11. Who knows where they're going to go? Don't really care. So I fancy Soprano, but Navassa Island is a huge danger.
Okay, there you go. A couple against the field then in the Albany Stakes for Tom Segal. What about you, Paul Kealy?
It was Navassa Island for me. I mean, I have tried to avoid the 2-year-old races, but I really liked her, and obviously the price has gone a little bit, but I do think she's actually got the form to be favourite here, because, she was first time out in a Group 3, 13 won a Group 3 as well, and at halfway she was clueless, even though she was a breed-up horse, and she didn't really get the message until a couple of furlongs out and had to work her way out, and to get within a neck of the winner and pull 4.5 lengths clear of the others, I thought that marked her down as very, very good. I mean, yes, the Michael O'Callaghan form there is at Ascot is a little bit of a worry, and she's obviously had a hard race first time up, which can be a bit of a worry as well. But she's had a month since, and if she had got the message earlier, she'd have won a Group 3 first time up. So she probably ought to have been favourite anyway. She's been sold since. I mean, Michael O'Callaghan picked her up 240 grand at the Breeze Ups anyway, and has sold her since, so God knows what she went for after that. But I do think she's potentially very good. She's also a half-sister to Lazoo.
The Dan was pretty talented as well.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, he's good pedigree. Lazoo won the Shively Park, and so hopefully she'll go on and be as tough as that one, who obviously went well at Ascot as well.
Okay. Did you mention Persian Dreamer, Tom? She was the one. Yeah. I thought she was very interesting. She's got a nice pedigree for this test, I thought. And like you said,
Calix had Mount today, didn't he? I think he's done incredibly well as the first season sub. No one really liked any of his horses at the first, but he's had loads of winners. Mount the second, so yeah, I think she might need a bit of rain, Ross. I would be very worried if it's fast, but they're going to put some water on. The same for Navassa Island, maybe. She's by territories.
Yeah.
Have a regular mare, so she might want a bit of rain too. But I think it'll be all right first up.
Yeah, I kind of know what you mean. I kind of, I don't know if you meant because of the defeat at York, maybe she didn't necessarily take to the fast ground, but they stopped. Well, they didn't stop at Newmarket, did they? But she rattled home. But they definitely didn't stop at York. She was a bit slowly away, and the pace very much held up in that Mary Gate. And I thought she was the one who was most inconvenienced by it. So interesting stepping her up to 6 furlongs. But it is, as ever, a wide open 2-year-old race. But what's what the combination forecast on Snefire rating passionately Saracana and Comat or boxed up would pay? But we might be a day too late for that bonanza, David.
Yes, the 2-year-old race today, obviously, the forecast, name your price, I think. In terms of this race, we're 4 places each way. We have a price boost on the Irish winners. They're well represented here, 7-4 from 5-4. From a personal point of view, having hit the crossbar with Army Ethos and Malk in 2-year-old races, I'm going to have another dart at a big price one. Like Malk, this one's trained by Richard Fahey. Pretty Crystal, one on good to firm. Okay, the bare form leaves it with a bit to find, but as we've said all week, these 2-year-olds can take a massive step forward, and I'll have another dart at one at a price. Pretty Crystal is the horse, I should say.
Yeah, I was waiting for that. Yeah, that was keep us in suspense there, Mr. Stevens. But okay, Pretty Crystal. What price?
25-1. Was 20s, but James Knight's heard me tip it and has gone 25-1.
Yeah, fair enough. I'll be 33s in a second then. But just one word for the most. I think the most unlikely debut winner in this field, and possibly the most unlikely Albany winner at first glance, was Saracana. A filly by Harzan, trained by Ed de Giles, bolted up at Haydock. But then you dig into her pedigree a bit more, and she's from the family of Gilt Edge Girl, who was a really top-class sprinter. And I think Saracana's a very big price. I saw that mentioned on the chat. Yeah, she's 50-1. Ed de Giles with a Royal Ascot winner. You never know. You never know. Kevin Hasdip's done Persian Dreamer each way. Michael O'Callaghan had a winner today. He owns the MO Racing horse, yeah, fair enough. And Jabara won a nice race at Newmarket, says Doghouse Riley, despite the best efforts of those on board, potentially. Okay, fair enough. Do it with Style 22s, Gushing Gold 25s, loads of horses at bigger prices. But Paul Kealy, you quite like the look of...
Yeah, I quite like the look of Navassa Island, but I can't go really confident given what's happened in the 2-year-old races this year, but I do like them.
Okay. And Tom?
Soprano, should mention Gushing Gold. Blue Point ran very well on her debut behind a good horse of Charlie Hill's, and she could run well at a big price. Andrew Balding's 2-year-old was unlucky. It was first home on her side in the Queen Mary.
Okay, there we go. That's the Albany then. Moving on to the second race of tomorrow's Royal Ascot card, and it's more sprinters. Little Big Bear has been heavily backed since winning that race over at Haydock from Should Have Been a Ring in fairly impressive fashion to some people, but we'll get to the opposite view from Tom in a second, I think. Even money now, Little Big Bear. Sakia 7-2, Lazoo 8-1, Shaquille is 8-1, Noble Style 12s, Ocean Quest 16s, Should Have Been a Ring. Reopposes at 22-1, and then it is bigger prices the rest. Again, plenty of horses in here who had very good 2-year-old form as well, who might bounce back. Mischief Magic, Marban, just 2 of those. Swing Along, of course, who won the Lowther at York. So plenty of really good 2-year-old form in here. Little Big Bear, though, had his fair share of very good 2-year-old form himself, Keels.
Yeah. He's the best. He's definitely the best horse on 2-year-old form. I don't think anybody could argue against that. That win from Persian Force at the Cup was amazing. I don't think he's come anywhere near replicating that so far. I mean, he's only had 2 runs this season, obviously tailed off, and it all went wrong for him in the Guineas, and he was never going to stay that on soft ground anyway. But, it was a big draw race, that race at Haydock that he won last time, and beat Should Have Been a Ring. Yes, he won well, but he only beat Should Have Been a Ring by a length and a quarter, and all of the others just couldn't win on the ground because they'd ruined the course by seemingly not watering the bit next to the rail. And I mean, if any other horse should have been ring by a length and a quarter, would it be evens? I wouldn't say so. Now, obviously,
I guess you rated it through the third, though, aren't you?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but I know. But it's just not right, is it? It's just not right that he's that short. We've already had 3 7-4 shots, 13 or 8, 5 6 shot beaten at Ascot this year. I can't back him. I've backed one, didn't I? I backed one, Highfield Princess, 2-1. She got beat as well. So
you can get your money back on Saturday for that, though.
So yeah, I'll back something else in that. So of course he can win, but I mean he also finished with his head in the air and his tail in the air at Haydock, and I just think he's got dodge pot waiting to happen, to be honest. And it's hard work at Ascot, isn't it? So I'm going to take him on, and although Noble Style could also be dodge pot waiting to happen, now that he's in here, I've got to have another go. He's shaped like a sprinter to me in the Guineas when fifth to Chaldean, and then I just think it was a case of returning to sprinting too soon, because it was just 2 weeks later when he went for the Carnarvon Stakes at Newbury. And it was
also a real speed favouring track.
Yeah,
well,
exactly. It was probably a little bit of a shock to the system as well, because he obviously been trained all season for trying to get him to stretch out to a mile. Hang on a minute, you're going back sprinting, and I think they can take a race to work out what they got to do, and obviously they've had 4 weeks or so now to get that into him. If you remember, alcohol free last year, she went to the Golden Jubilee last year, and she was rushed off her feet. The next thing you know, she canters home in the July Cup on a much quicker track. She just got the message again. You know what I mean? So hopefully that will happen with him.
Is that a concern for Sakia then as well?
Yes, but they've also had time to train him as a sprinter, whereas they didn't have time to train Noble Style as a sprinter.
So what's happened with Sakia is they've gone back to the drawing board and started again.
Back to the drawing board. The horses that ran in the Guineas and have run really well in this race, or even won it, tended to go straight there. Yeah. After the Guineas, I just think Noble Style, it was too quick for him. I think he still can be a sprinter, and I think a stiff six is absolutely certain. Charlie Appleby has a great record of the first time cheek pieces as well. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but it is good, very profitable. And a double figure price in a race I don't think is actually that deep, and you're getting extra places.
Okay, there you go. Where is he? Yeah, 12-1. Is Noble Style, but Little Big Bear even money. Clearly, there was a bit of a bias at Haydock, Tom. It doesn't mean he's not going to win, of course. It just means that you might not want to back him at even money.
Exactly that. I know the Cornwall boys like 3 races at the Royal Meeting. They like the Coventry, they like the St James's Palace, and they like this race, because I think if they think they can make stallions out of their horses that win those races, unlike the Gold Cup or the Phillies races. So I think this will have been the plan for Little Big Bear probably since the start of the season, really. They had to give him a crack at the Guineas, but like Kealy said, I just didn't like his last furlong, but I did like his second, third, fourth, and fifth furlong. I just didn't like the last furlong at Haydock. Obviously there was a big draw advantage. I just didn't think he did anything in the last furlong. Now, this is a much, much better race than that. And I just don't know what he'll find under pressure. I just don't. Maybe he'll be too good for them, but even money's way too short for me. Sakia, I like a lot. Lazoo, I like a lot. Shaquille, I like a lot. I like lots of them. Don't like the race very much in general, but I just think it's, I don't know. I thought it was really hard. I really did. I think Shaquille's a little bit underrated, because I think he's won every time over 6 furlongs. And I think if he was trained by Charlie Appleby and the boys, I think he'd be a much shorter price. I hate saying that Charlie's horses are out of form, but he's really struggling with his horses to hit the frame even this week, and Old Act did it. But apart from that, they've been running not great. I'm hoping Noble Style bounces back for Keels, but I just think it's really hard. I would personally slightly favour Sakia, but it's not a race I'll be having a bet in.
Okay, Sakia is a 7-2 shot against Little Big Bear at even money. Like you said, plenty of others in with this week. It'll be interesting to see how Shaquille takes to Ascot, because visually, I mean, he's wildly impressive. He's incredibly fast. It's just whether he can sustain that at Ascot rather than a Newbury or a Newmarket. But anyway, Commonwealth Cup, Little Big Bear, even money here. And I think people were saying, a lot of people were saying that, it shouldn't be 15-8 or 6-4 for this a week or so again, David. But he's even shorter now.
Yeah, he's been the anti-post mover ever since the Derby, really. Obviously, Gus Rodin came out of a disappointing Guineas run to win that, and obviously punters thinking likewise can happen here. And he's clearly just shortening again, as Ryan Moore, Valued Oil have had another really good week here. For me, he's got to be taken on at the price, though. It'd be a surprise to nobody if they win it, of course, given the week they're having. But I really like Lazoo here. This is what this race was about. Horses can have a go at the Guineas. If they don't stay, They've got this as a Group 1 target, and I think she fits the bill there. She's a Group 1 winner over 6 furlongs. She's got form on firm ground. She's got Victoria in the saddle. Not that I think she's particularly tricky. And around 8 to 1, I think she's the each-way play.
Okay, might be a Navassa Island Lazoo each-way double then in the first two, David, given the pedigrees.
Indeed, although I'm not even going to talk about how my Yankee today each way. I'm keeping it simple. I'm just going to have single each way bets. That's it. No more fancy each way doubles.
Okay, yeah, don't try and cop the lot, David. Just chip away, my friend. Anyway, okay. The Commonwealth Cup, Tom.
Yeah, hate the race. Sakir for me though.
That's going back to Haunters as Sakir bolts up, isn't it, Gills?
Yeah, but I'm giving Noble Star one more chance sprinting.
Okay, fair enough. Little Big Bear, even money though. Some people saying, stop overcomplicating things. Little Big Bear will win, says Paul Gerrell. Lazoo's got a big chance, says Off-World. And Simon O'Neill says, Shaquille for me could be a slam dunk. Lovely stuff. Right, let's move on then to the next race, the Duke of Edinburgh Stakes. A mile and a half the distance here for this red-hot handicap. There's a lot of horses, talented horses, upwardly mobile horses, in-form horses who did not get into this race because there's a lot of horses off triple-figure marks who are taking up plenty of the spots. Al Nafir is number 11 on the card and is rated 100, and he's 9-2 with Timesius Fox also at 9-2. Akita Sushi is 5-1, Maxud is 8-1, Nagano is 10-1, an old friend of the panel. Americ is 10-1, Live Your Dream is 12, Omniscient didn't get in. He's just one of those horses who has missed out. And we've got old friends as well, like Ajero, HMS President's in there as well, and then a couple of Saeed bin Saror runners who usually have fairly good runs at big prices as well. But yeah, it's there's loads of, like I said, I quite fancied Sheer Rocks for this, Tom, and the horse didn't even get in because this is it's almost like, all the big summer handicaps, your John Smith's Cups, your Ebors, all those quietly progressive horses in the mid-90s haven't quite made the cut.
No, they haven't. It's very competitive, but I didn't actually fancy that many, to be honest. I think once again I'm going to do the keep it simple method. Which trainer wins it the most? Hughie Morrison. Can you win from a low draw? No, not for the last 15 years or something. No single figure, or the last 10 years, no single figure horse has won it. So that left me with Staywell and Maxud. So I just simply stuck with them. Couldn't see Staywell staying the trip. So I ended up on Maxud, who I think has shortened dramatically in prices. But it's not hard to see why, because if you go back to Goodwood last year, he was second in a mile and a half handicap there. The winner, Secret State, went on to finish second in the Voltager, now rated £10 higher. Third, Inverness has won a listed race in Doha and went on to win a big handicap at Haydock, now rated £10 or £5 or £6 higher. The fourth home was Saltham, who went and won the Melrose by about 15 million lengths and is rated £16 higher. So Maxud off the same sort of mark, I think it's exactly the same mark. If he runs to that level of form, he's a well-handicapped horse. And we know that Hughie Morrison will have targeted the meeting. We know Thurlow Bloodstock love this meeting too. They'll all be there in force. And I like his draw on the outside too. So hopefully Tommy Mark, can do the business again after his double today. Looking forward to seeing Maxud run a big race.
Okay, yeah, and I mean he has come down in the betting quite markedly, but that's partly your fault, Tom. It's also partly your fault, Kears.
Yeah, actually, I think he went in the market early this afternoon. I mean, our problem is you have to file so early for the print run and all that you don't get the opportunity to change something when it goes that short. Would I back him at 8-1? Probably not. I have backed him 25-1. Was a bit of a rick this morning, I think. But he's clearly got a good chance. I mean, nothing worked out for him at Chester on his return anyway because he flopped out the stalls and it was a race dominated by the front runners. And he's obviously got that form that Tom went on about at Goodwood. So he's a massive player. I think he'll probably drift out a little bit. I mean, if you're going to, I wouldn't say back him overnight now if you're not getting best odds guaranteed, because I think he'll end up drifting out a little bit, a bit more reality. He'll drop into the market. But the other one I liked was at a price HMS President. He's just such a consistent horse, really consistent for Eve Johnson horse. And Horton has moved to Alan King this season and won 2 career best. One on the all-weather, one at Newmarket last time when he'd gone up and beat Torcello by a neck over 1 mile 6 on soft ground. He's got no issues with ground at all. He's been in the first 4 on all 4 occasions he's run at Ascot, including finishing 4th in a handicap. He was a 3-year-old. And he's just in good form. He's got a stall 11, so he's not in single figures. He does place far more often than he wins, but I thought he had a decent each way chance at a price.
Okay, and a quick shout out for, like I said, old friend Nagano. It's 2 years, Keels. 2 years since we've had this horse at Ascot, and he was very unlucky, and then he went and won, beating Siskin. He was rated 115 now.
Absolutely, yeah.
I wonder where he'd gone, but I mean, he's got to be ready for this, otherwise he just wouldn't bother. Would
That's right. Yeah, I mean there was potential. I mean, I know Candleford won a race off a year break last year, didn't it? So it can be done. And obviously these big trainers, they've got the best facilities in the world, haven't they? And they'll be working and working and working. He has only been allowed £1 for his absence. He's a pound lower than when he raced last time, and you quite often see him get given a bit more leeway than that, don't you? So, he hasn't been done many favours by the handicapper for his absence. Although you could argue that he probably went up after that Group 3 third at Goodwood on his last run, so maybe he has. Just thought about that.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that's, just in case you were wondering whether this is live, literally thinking on the spot. As for the rest, Live Your Dream each way for Doghouse Riley and Rob Dixon. Yeah, Nagano may just be better than these. Worth the risk. Marion brought the Derby runner-up off a huge layoff. That is a very good point. Yeah, I do think he's got a big chance at 10-1. But big market move for Maxer. David, anything else standing out in this Duke of Edinburgh Stakes?
Well, we are 5 places each way, and we've also got a Roger variant special. Roger's got the 2 10-1 shots with 6-1 Roger to win this race. I like Amaric of his pair. Had both ends done, had the gelding and the wind up, came out and won at Doncaster on good to firm. He's only up 4 for that, so I'm hoping he's pretty lightly raced. I think he's only run 6-7 times, so hopefully he can overcome £4. But as I say, if you want both the variant pair, 6-1.
Okay, yeah, I think it's overcoming that 1 box. I think, isn't it, on the 1.5 mile course, David? It's going to give you palpitations. I think coming on that
backed losers. I've backed losers that have been drawn high. I've been backed losers that have been drawn in the middle. I've been backed losers that have been drawn low. So I'm stopping worrying about the draw now.
Right, fair enough. Well, I mean, at least you're consistent, David. So, there's that. Okay, wide open handicap then for that 340. Al Nafia and Timesius Fox at 9-2 joint favourites. But Paul, you quite like the look of?
Maxford are backed and HMS President.
Okay, and Tom?
Yeah, I back Maxford. I also will have a few quid on Ed Dunlop's horse, Haunted Dream, who was third in a big handicap at Newmarket last back and looks to be in trained for this race. Won on the all-weather last time. Worried about stall 3. David might not be worried about draws and where they are, but I tell you what, I'm completely petrified about low draws on the round course. It's just such painful viewing.
It is. You can see it coming a mile off as well, can't you? You just look at it. You wait for that moment. You go, shoot, switch left, switch. Oh no. And
the thing is, Ross, like our valiant king today, if he just stayed where he was, just stay where you are and not try and do all this fun, you've been fine.
I know. That was my one. So far this week, my one actual proper bet. The more I kept looking at it, I thinking this is going to run a huge race, all the way approaching that bend. I was thinking, please, for the love of God, just be patient. But
stay where you are.
Yeah, never mind. At least the king got a winner, Tom.
Yeah, great.
Right. Speaking of which, is the Coronation Stakes up next, the 420. A Group 1 here with, I guess, a bit of a disappointing size field, or more importantly, a disappointing lack of a matchup between the Guineas winners, which we had earlier in the week with the Colts, of course, but unfortunately, Morge has been coughing apparently and has not turned up to take on Tahira. Tahira is 4-7. Meditate is 4-1. Queen for You 15-2. Sounds of Heaven is 12-1. Comra is definitely not how you pronounce that, but it's 25-1. Mama's Girl is 25, and Remarque is 25-1. Or if you Tom, Remarque who's the outsider of the bunch for Rafe Beckett, but still clearly a very talented horse who hasn't quite found her best form this year. But Tahira is 4-7 here, up against old rival Meditate, Tom. But if there is one thing that could bring these two horses a little bit closer together, it is of course the Ascot factor, because Meditate is a Royal Ascot winner and Tahira hasn't been here yet. To me, that means I would have probably put these a little bit closer in the betting.
Most definitely. I don't know what race everyone was watching in the Irish 1,000 Guineas, because I didn't think she was that impressive. I really didn't. She had stall one, she had one horse to beat, Meditate, and she beat her by length and a half. I didn't, there was a 150 to 1 shot just up and right up their tails in Comra. The other World filly was given a bit of a dodgy ride and flew home for 4th. I just don't see, I just didn't see that as being a very good race. The problem is, I don't think this is a very good race. She's got to beat the same filly probably. The 3 Kingman fillies in there, Queen for You, Sounds of Heaven, Remark, Ross. They're very interesting fillies, but they've got a lot to find to get to the top 2. I think this could be. Ryan Moore's obviously going to. I think he'll probably set out in front, won't he? I think all the others will want to be held up, and if he can go slow enough on very quick ground, which it could be tomorrow, wouldn't be certain she'd get past him. I think she's definitely the most likely winner. Undoubtedly, she's got the best form, but I'd have them closer, like you say. I won't be having a bet in the race, but I do think Meditate has a better chance of beating her than the prices would suggest. Yeah,
I'm inclined to agree. So she does look a little bit interesting at odds of 4-1. Shout out to Colin Grogan on the chat. Says it's pronounced Cora, so that is much closer to. I wasn't far off. I mean, I was absolutely miles off. But Keel, to hear.
I'm not mentioning that one.
No. Let's not get into that, because it's sure to come back and bite us in the backside later on. 4-7 Tahira, 4-1 Meditate. Are you in the agreement that it might be a bit closer?
I've come to the conclusion. I must admit, I thought Tahira was a good thing all week, but that was the fastest ground she's run on at the Carter, and it's going to be faster tomorrow. And Meditate has twice run on ground with firm in the description, and she hacked up in the Albany last year, and she hacked up at the Breeders' Cup. So she's got that very much in her favour, and Tahira might not have, because she clearly handles soft ground very, very well. So yeah, I'm leaning towards Meditate as well. And the comment from Aidan O'Brien that appears on the website now and in the paper tomorrow, it says, she had a hold up. We expected her to come forward from the 1,000 to the Curragh, and we expect her to come forward again. So, there's plenty of reasons to think that it's going to be a little bit harder for Tahira at the very least.
Yeah, I'd kind of forgotten how impressive that Breeders' Cup win was until I watched it back, and it was pretty spectacular.
Yeah. So, I mean, if it's rattling, and it might be, I'm assuming they're going to stick some more water on tonight, but it's very warm today. It'll be gone by 4 o'clock on whatever they put on, won't it? So it should be quick. And I think she's a massive danger.
Okay, Tahira 4-7, Meditate 4-1. Probably should mention Queen for You though, Tom, because again, if anyone can improve a horse as much as Queen for You needs to improve to win this race, it's the Goslings, isn't it?
Yeah, she was good on her debut here, and then I was quite impressed by the winner, Sounds of Heaven. I can't quite work out why she's double the price nearly of Queen for You. That was her debut. Queen for You had a run. There's no reason, we always talk about Jessica Harrington's fillies at Ascot. I don't think there should be that much between them. I just think they've both got to step up quite a bit. But as Keel says, if Tahira doesn't like the ground, I'm not convinced Meditate's superstar. She's obviously very, very good, but I don't think she's super brilliant. So they're with a shot, but they've got a bit to find for me.
Okay. The Coronation Stakes then. Yeah, a bit of a disappointing turnout, David, in the sense, for a start, we only got 7 runners. We haven't got that matchup. But we had a fantastic winner in this race last year, of course. We might get another one here. But who do you think it's going to be?
Yeah, it is disappointing that the rematch with Morge isn't taking place. For those that are keeping the faith with Tahira, we are 4-5 for the duration of this live show. But I think for the first time this week, possibly, I think we're all in agreement that Meditate has to be the value given on the ground. For many, many years, Aidan O'Brien had these daughters of Galileo that were just so tough. They'd run them and run them. Now, this one's a daughter of No Nay Never, but she could just be out the same mould. You know, she danced plenty of dances last year as a 3-year-old. She's tough. She's run twice already this year. She could just keep improving. And look, Tahira, clearly the ground is the question mark as well as the price. And because of that, has to be Meditate for me as well.
Okay, so all 4 of us meditating during the Coronation Stakes tomorrow then. For this 420 Tahira, though, 4-7 favourite Meditate is a 4-1 shot for tomorrow's Group 1 feature. The Sandringham Stakes is up next. The Fillies handicap here with 30 of them lining up. Again, it's a Fillies Britannia, isn't it? Pretty much. Copies is 5-1. Jackie O is 6-1. Ma Belle Artiste is 12-1, or Ma Belle Artist, if you prefer, Tom. Dream of Love 12-1. Chelsea Green 12-1. Marksman Queen 14-1. Girl Racer 14s. Clumacon is 16-1 again. Plenty of others we should probably mention as well. Embrace was a bit eye-catching on her previous start. Novus rattled home from, well, I was going to say from nowhere, but literally nowhere. Good luck watching that replay back in the fog. And Les was fairly impressive last time out, breaking the maiden tag as well. The Copy Artist has a very similar profile to last year's Britannia winner Thesis, and comes from an informed yard as well. But I've just seen that does that price just change, Skills, or am I going mad?
Which one? What?
I'm sure Jackie O was. It was 6-1 2 seconds ago.
Yeah, might have done.
All right, okay. Well,
My fault.
all right, we better start talking about it then before it goes 4-1 clear favourite. But Jackie O and Copies. Either of these two on your shortlist, Skills?
No. I mean, let's face it. I love big field handicaps, obviously, but 33-year-old fillies. I mean, we must be all bonkers, mustn't we? Really?
Yeah.
Like, you know,
We'll specify that's 33-year-old fillies. Not,
yeah, exactly. 33-year-old fillies. Like, you know what I mean? Absolutely mad we are. No, Jackie O was 5th to Tahira in the Irish Guineas, wasn't she? She's taken a big drop in class, but who knows? I've had a go at Chelsea Green.
yeah.
For the Chelsea Thoroughbreds, who obviously had the first 2 in the Royal Hunt Cup. I just liked the fact that she came from last to first at Newmarket and won very, very well, having been completely unfancied. I think she ran all the ground, and the way races pan out at Ascot, hopefully she'll do the same. She can do the same. If they go fast enough. And when I was looking at the market, I mean, most of the fancied runners are drawn on the high side, and she's drawn low. But again, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen?
Just don't worry. Again, like you said at the start of the show, just don't worry about it.
It's tiny bet time, but I thought she won pretty easily. They may have gone too fast at Newmarket that day, and it probably wasn't a great race, but she won in the style of a filly that should be better than a mark of 89.
Okay. Chelsea Green then is a 12-1 shot here for Hugo Palmer and Ben Curtis. But I guess in races like this as well, again, you're going to look at the pedigrees, Tom. You usually do at big meetings like this, and the front 2 are incredibly well bred for horses running in a Royal Ascot handicap. Of course, you expect that given the connections, but there's some lovely pedigrees on offer in this race this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm partly responsible for the Jackie O company. She's halved in price today. I just thought she was a massive eye catcher in the Irish Guineas. There was a huge advantage being drawn on the rail. She was supplemented into that race after being second in a Lister race. So, quite interesting that when you have Meditate in the race already, they bothered to supplement Jackie O into it. She had no chance the way the race was run, and she did remarkably well to finish 5th. She came right round the outside, went past a good few of the horses on the outside, and then got tired late on in the swamp up the middle. So I think she's by Galileo out of Jacqueline Quest, and I think Aidan O'Brien has so many group horses. When he runs one in handicaps, we saw that already with Bertinelli in the London Gold Cup. He's got a very good record in handicap when he runs.
Well, Paddington, obviously, we mentioned that, progressed to Group 1 quality from handicap. Exactly.
Over the years, he's done really well. I think he might have won this really off top weight a few years ago. So, or came second. Rain Goddess maybe came second, just touched off. But I think Jackie O run really well. Don't know about the draw. 28. You just have no idea. Capice is one of those Gosden fillies that got bogged down in a trial, a bit like Mostabshire, a bit like Soul Sister, and then came out and won on the all-weather. But actually, the form's not great. I get the Chelsea Green thing very much. I thought she was very, very eye-catching. She was definitely on the list. But my other one was one you mentioned, Ross, Embrace. for Owen Burrows. I just think she's been crying out for quick ground. She ran 4th in the Fred Darling, is that? I can't remember what it's called now. The one at Newbury, run by Remarque, and she was on completely the wrong side. When it's soft ground at Newbury, if you race up the stand side, you're nearly always beaten about 20 lengths. She wasn't. She was 4th, and she finished well. Then she went to the Guineas itself and stayed on late to be 10. Obviously, she was beaten miles, but she beat half the field there. And I just think she's been crying out for fast ground. She's by Lope de Vega, out of a mare that has produced some fast ground horses. She's won on the all-weather. She's going to be held up out the back, and I especially like Hood off Ross. Oh my God, how much do I hate Hoods? But the fact that it's come off is a big bonus for me. I just think it's an example. It just tells you that they think the horse is going to pull too hard. And the worst thing you want in an Ascot race is horses that are going to pull too hard. So hopefully what that's saying to you is that they've settled her down. She's going to settle better these days. They've got her sorted. If that's the case, I think she can make a massive step forward, and she's drawn in the middle. And I think, like you said, I want a horse like the Jamie Spencer ridden horse today in the handicap. I like horses that finish late. I like horses that settle and finish. Hopefully, Embrace will do that with the hood off.
Okay. You went a bit Graham Taylor there, Tom. That's what's confusing me a bit. Do I not like hoods?
Not hoods.
A couple of other horses to mention. I mean, and we were talking about the draw, but there's also how you ride a horse, isn't there, as well? For example, Thunder Blue in the first race today. I mean, if you told me that Thunder Blue would set it up for the winner rather than the other way around, I'd have been fairly surprised. And one horse, depending on how she's ridden, I did think the other O'Brien horse was a bit interesting. I did think Unless had some really good form. It took ages to get off the mark, but then suddenly got the hang of it last time out. And again, she's beautifully bred. And I thought she might well have just snuck under the radar a bit, Tom.
Yeah, absolute justifier out of Clemmy. Clemmy was did she win at Royal Ascot, Clemmy? Can't remember.
No, she won the. Oh dear, what did she win? She won the
Newmarket, didn't she?
She won the Sheafley Park, didn't she? Yeah.
Did she? But she's very well bred, and she could easily be, like you say, she ran into some really good plays, didn't she? All her life.
Honey Girl being one of them.
Yeah. And she was impressive last time back on, and she will like fast ground when she's quite justified herself. So all these horses like fast ground, really, or better ground. None of them really like wallowing around in the mud unless they're by fast company. And so, for me, she could easily be the one. Look, we could go through, like Keel said, Chelsea Green is going to be ahead of her mark on 89. He's right. The problem is there's going to be 25 that are ahead of their mark, running up Ascot probably, and whichever one gets the run of the race, hits the straps, does the right sectionals, goes the right pace, they're the ones that come out on top, and it's something you can't predict beforehand. So, bit of equine bingo, but I'm taking a shot on Embrace and Jackie O.
Okay, there you go. Just a quick shout out for Polly Pott down the bottom as well. Of course, Group 2 winner last year. Big trainer upgrade for a flat handicap, Ben Pauling to Ed Dunlop, which it was a fairly odd move, wasn't it, Keels, sending her to Ben Pauling for a couple of runs?
Yeah, well, it's a strange one, isn't it? Yeah.
Obviously, they have horses with him over the
he's
sticks.
Pretty good, Ben Pauling. He's had some tremendous results over the winter.
Yeah, it was just.
And there's some of these trainers who can, they can turn their hand at the flat, can't they? He's pretty good, Ben Pauling.
It's up a field at the end of the day, Ross. I wouldn't be so convinced it's a massive training grade.
No, nor would I.
Okay, fair enough. She might have had a squeak in a Foss last handicap hurdle, but copies 5-1 back into favouritism now, or is that unupdated? Anyway, David, give us some prices because Jackie O's in, Jackie O's out. I can't keep up.
My screen is showing 5-1 joints, but it is an ever fluid market, this one. I've had my thunder well and truly stolen by Keels here. We now sponsor Manor House Stables, owned by Michael Owen, of course, where Hugo Palmer trains. We've been doing the blog with Hugo this week. He's only had a few runners, but this is the one he's been waiting for, Chelsea Green. So I can pass on a very confident word from the trainer about this. But the price has gone, thanks to Keels. Still 12-1. We are 6 places each way in this tricky race. But hoping Chelsea Green for Hugo Palmer.
Okay.
I'm not. You'll be on the lash again, Mr. Stevens, if Chelsea Green wins. We want Chelsea Green out now. Unlucky Keels. I was on you. I was with you a few minutes ago. Now he's up for another bottle of champagne. I'm out.
I mean, you're the one wearing the silks, Tom, though, to be fair. So maybe you have secret a secret fancy for the Chelsea Thoroughbred runners. But Jackie O and Copies at 5-1 joint favourites. I would have expected Copies to be the one to be repeatedly cut. But it's Jackie O instead. Anyway, we've got a Frankie price boost, I think, David.
We have, yeah. He's got plenty of fancied runners, couple actually. One winner is even money from 8 to 11. 2 or more is 6 to 1 from 5 to 1. He's a couple on the board already, and obviously he's on the well-fancied Coppice here.
Okay, there we go. Jackie O 5-1 with Coppice at the top of the betting. The Sandringham Stakes. Mr. Paul Kealy, remind me.
Chelsea Green.
Chelsea Green it is. Tom Segal.
Yeah, Embrace would be my main one, but Jackie O as well. I'd just give a word to Sabila for Roger Varian. He's got a very good record in this race. Ran her in the Mayhill. I think he thinks she's pretty good, so I don't think she's an 80 to 1 shot.
Okay, fair enough. And I kind of agree with all you lot, unless that's my selection here for the Sandringham Stakes. At 5 o'clock, we've got 2 more races to go on the 4th day of Royal Ascot 2023, and we've already seen the Derby form given a little bit of a boost today at Ascot. I mean, you'd be fairly surprised if it wasn't given a boost in this race, seeing as half the field are running. King of Steel, though, is 11-10 favourite ahead of Arrest at 7-2. Continuous is 5-1, and then it's 11-2 Artistic Star, Dubai Mile 22-1, and Relentless Voyager 25-1, the outsider of the bunch. So unless Continuous or Relentless Voyager do go on and bolt up in this race, the Derby's going to be given another bit of a boost. King of Steel then is 11-10 favourite, Paul Kealy. But the thing is, with races round at Epsom, it either goes your way or it doesn't. And I'm not saying King of Steel isn't going to go and finish ahead of all these again, but you know, when it goes wrong, like it did for Arrest, and to a certain extent it did for Dubai Mile, you've got no chance, have you?
Well, no, exactly. But the other point is that he ran that first time out, and it was a real lung-bursting effort. I think he's got blowout written all over him.
You think it might be a bit bouncy?
Bouncy, yeah. Look at his form last year. He absolutely hacked up in a maiden. Looked like he was, he could have won by as far as he liked. He then ran in the Futurity just 10 days later. And was tailed off, and he's clearly miles better than he ran there, but he couldn't back it up after 10 days. And can he back this up after 20? Now I know 20 days, twice as long and whatever, but he'd have had a much harder race at Epsom than he did last year, first time out, and that worries me. So I think I think this race has got ball over written all over it. The rest is going to hate the ground. Dubai Mile, although he's got a penalty, I think he's a massive price. He did not run his race in the Derby. I forgive any horse a bad run at Epsom.
But again, I watched that back earlier on, and he was down the inside rail, which wasn't the place to be. He was stopped for a run at least twice down the inside rail, and I was expecting to have dropped out the back of the telly, but he's actually coming back again.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought he ran all right.
Exactly. Yeah, we didn't run that bad, but obviously he was beaten a fair way by some of them. But I mean, he's got a Group 1 verdict over Arrest on Arrest's ground last year, and he does handle good fast ground. Arrest may have won on firm ground, but he's got such an action on him. I just can't believe he likes it. Can't believe he's going to run. So I'm definitely laying the front 2. I think probably be able to do it roughly about 2s on, something like that. And I am backing Dubai Mile. I mean, it wouldn't have surprised me if any of the others won as well. But I just thought Artistic Star and Continuous were a bit short on the balance of form, and he's just a massive price.
Yeah, fair enough. The only slight concern is he's got he's almost an identical profile to Gear Up, who won that race and then didn't run that well in the Derby, then carried a penalty here. But I do think he's a bit of a better horse.
Yeah, I think he could be, yeah. I mean, he's already a Group 1 winner. And he was, he ran a perfectly sound race in the Guineas, went 5th, didn't he? So, yeah, I think he's a good horse. He's way too good to be the price he is for this. Yeah,
fair enough. The other plus in his column, Tom, is pedigree. Roaring Lion, 3 runners at Ascot so far. Valiant King should have won. St George might have well won if he hadn't run into a Frankie special, and I can't remember what his other runner was, but that one won at the track as well. So a winner in 2 seconds for Roaring Lion. Yeah, I thought Dubai Mile could pass a couple of his old rivals here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the rest will run, so that's why I left the race alone. Keels is much better and much more sharper on these sort of things where with the Rule 4s and stuff than me. But
you got to bet before them. You got to bet before them because it works in your favour.
Exactly, it works in your favour. So I should have taken more time because I didn't think Arrest was going to run. I fancied Continuous to run well in the French Derby. Now the winner, he would have never beaten the winner, but he ran pretty lamentably, having well drawn, no reason to run as bad as he did. So I couldn't fancy him. Artistic Star sort of was the sort of lummox that picked up the pieces in the Derby. He could come on again. He's, as we were talking about on Derby Day, he's the youngest horse in the race. So there's more to come from him, but he's still, you know what I mean? He's not, you know, as I say, he's sort of the late headway monkey, wasn't he? That sort of came late. He could run well, but I wonder if he'll be far behind here.
But I think even I mean, if you rate him through the defeat of Torito, though, who, you know, given a bit of luck, might have finished second. He might have even won today. Even give him that bit of form, Artistic Star's got a squeak as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's got a squeak. He's definitely got a squeak. I'm just not sure Ascot will be his place. Do you know what I mean? I just don't know. I think he'll get behind, and then, you know, I don't. As I say, Subjectivist ran a cracker in the Gold Cup today. I thought he was going to finish out the back of the telly when that pesky horse in the blinkers took him on, but he kept on and stayed on into third. So he's just the type of horse that's going to keep on rolling, isn't he? And if they, you know, he might get an easy lead out front. He might just be able to go his own fractions, and therefore they just might not peg him back. So I totally understand where Keels is coming from. And like you say, there's reasons why all the others can't be fancied.
Okay, so the King Edward VII, then interested to see how that Derby form works out. Interested to see if Arrest runs as well. Interested to see if David Stevens has anything up his sleeve in this penultimate race.
Beyond reiterating our price boost, if you do fancy the favourite, 6-4 from 11 to 10. Only 6 runners, so one of the smallest fields of the week. I thought this was just a horrible race. Trying to make a case for anything, even the 25 to 1 shot Relentless Voyager. I like the case Keels has made for Dubai Mali. Could get an easy lead, presumably under Danny Muscat as well. Artistic Star's been well backed, 9 to 1 into 11 to 2. Not sure, obviously wasn't prompted by either of these guys. And I thought Continuous was interesting, given Ballydoyle could have had more than one runner or could have had something else running. They've gone for this one. Disappointed in the French Derby, but they have won this with some good ones over the years. I thought it was a really, really tricky race, and I like the case Keels has made for the Mark Johnson, or Charlie Johnson horse, I should say.
Okay, that's the King Edward VII Stakes. And the last race on tomorrow's Royal Ascot card is the Palace of Holyroodhouse Stakes, a new recruit to Royal Ascot in recent times, but certainly attracting, as you would expect, plenty of runners. 28 of them turning up for this 5 furlong handicap, and loads of them ran in last year's Norfolk or Windsor Castle as well. So there are plenty of group horses as 2-year-olds running off nice handicap marks here as 3-year-olds, but it's Conquistador who's in winning form at 6 to 1, who's top of the betting. Hispanic is 8 to 1, Jurbat 9 to 1, Frankness 9 to 1, Radio Gugu 12s, Tawala is 12s, Harry Brown is 12s, Clearpoint is 14s, and then there's bigger prices the rest. Like I said, loads of horses who ran well last year, the likes of Pillow Talk, who ran quite well behind the Riddler in the Norfolk, Rocket Rodney, of course, and Wallbank, who of course went off 7 to 4 for the Norfolk last year, and it's 25 to 1 here, Keels. There's a lot of good horses at big prices.
There are lots of good horses at big prices. I prefer a less exposed one of them, and one that I've had my eye on for a while. Harry Brown's got a very good record on the all-weather, but I think that's because he was running on it.
So did Witch Hunter, to be fair, today.
Over the winter, yeah, but it doesn't hurt. I mean, he's 3 from 6 in the all-weather and been placed in the others, and he hasn't won in 4 on turf. But actually, last time out at Goodwood, He ran a career best on Racing Post on top speed when he was 3rd to Ferris, and I thought he shaped like the best horse in the race for pretty much all of it apart from the last 100 yards, and it was just a case of getting tired after best part of 4 months off. And it was a good run anyway, because the winner had been 3rd to Shaquille and Washington Heights at Newmarket the time before, and that was when Shaquille was rated about £18 lower than he is now. And the 4th has come out and won really easily since as well. So I think it was a good race. I actually had a good bet on him for the 3-year-old dash at Epsom on Derby Day, thinking that having handled Goodwood so well, he was obviously going to go there, but David Simcoe decided to give him a bit of time, and perhaps this has just been the aim. So, put my faith in Hayley Turner for the 2nd time on Friday. She's in form, she's won, she's had a winner today, she's good on the straight track, and I think Harry Brown is a sprinter well worth following.
Okay. Harry Brown, then it is for Michael Caine fan Paul Kealy. But Harry Brown, 12-1 here for David Simcock and Hayley Turner. What was on the Tom Segal shortlist, or the 10-second sprint handicap Tom Segal shortlist?
Harry Brown was one of them, for sure. Yeah, I like him a lot. Big fan of David Simcock and Hayley Turner. This has been the plan. I know that. When he won at Lingfield at the start of the season, he beat some good horses. You know, the XO was behind him that day. That horse ran second in the Commonwealth Cup trial, didn't he? Ahead of Bradsell. You know, he beat some good horses that day at Lingfield. I think this has been the plan all along. Interestingly, Hayley rides someone massive. She's so good, Hayley, on the Ascot straight track. So I think he'll run really well. The other one I like is the Frankel horse. Frankel could have the winner of the Ascot Gold Cup, the Prince of Wales' Stakes, the Queen Anne, and whatever this race is called. Can't remember.
The Palace of Holyroodhouse Stakes, of course.
5 furlongs. Fraggers don't know about the draw. Trap 28 could be in the wrong place, but she is getting faster, and I was impressed with her at Goodwood. She won with loads in hand at Goodwood, and I thought she'd go well too. So they were my two, Harry Brown and Frankness, but impossible 5 furlong sprint handicap.
No, that is true, but I appreciate your frankness with your views there. But yeah, like I said, the one who stood out, I mean, it's just been mentioned on the chat a couple of times as well, but surely the best handicapped horse in here by a mile is Rocket Rodney, isn't it? On that Windsor Castle Stakes last year, Little Big Bear winner, Eddie's Boy, Chateau, Jumbo, Bolt Action. There's loads of horses rated 105 bare minimum in that race, and he's here off revisiting Ascot off a mark of 99.
I can't remember that. I've never heard of the last 4 you mentioned. I remember Little Big Bear, but the rest of them haven't done much, have they?
Yes, yeah, they have, yeah. The third was Eddie's Boy, who he won the. Did he win the Super Sprint? I think he won a Group 3 in France. He's now rated 108 for Archie Watson. Chateau for Andrew Balding is now over in Hong Kong, I think, but was ended up fourth behind Noble Style in the Gimcrack. Was rated 104. Jumbo for Tom Clover. I'm pretty sure that's gone down. So that's ruined the run.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously he's got Ascot form, and you can definitely see it. I mean, he's only ever been rated as high as 105, so he's only dropped £6. But yeah, you can certainly see it. 5 furlong Ascot is going to suit him. You can certainly make a case for him being a big price. However, Harry Brown is rated 87, and he absolutely slammed a horse now rated 104 at Lingfield a few starts ago. So I mean, he could be extremely well handicapped.
Okay, David Stevens, see us out with whatever this last race is called.
6 places in the Palace of Holyrood. I like Clear Point, trained by Richard Fahey. Has won over 6 furlongs, has won over 5 furlongs, has won on Good to Firm. Put a line through his run at Thirsk. He was drawn low, and all the action was high that day. Drawn in 1 here. Clear Point, I think, is 14-1.
Okay, yeah, Clear Point is a 14-1 shot. The finale, though, is Conquistador at the top of the betting at 6-1, although I did think that horse could be more dangerous when sent over to South America. But anyway, what did you... final tip of the day. Keels.
Yeah, Harry Brown for me.
Harry Brown it is. Tom?
Yeah, Harry Brown and Frankness for me.
Okay, very well. I'll go with Rocket Rodney and David Stevens.
Clear Point in the last.
Lovely stuff. Right, do you want to go to the Breeze Cup?
No.
Well, luckily, Tom is not allowed to enter, but you can. With a chance to win a trip to the Breeders' Cup, and I can assure you that Tom Segal will not be there joining you. Right, let's get the naps on day 4 of Royal Ascot.
There will be, though, I can guarantee that. Simon Clare will be there. He never misses it. He never misses a chance to tell us that he's going either.
Absolutely. Is that why you're not going?
One of the reasons.
Fair enough. Tom Segal, who, quite frankly, you have to drag him out just to go to the shop to buy some milk. He's not going to go to the Breeders' Cup, is he? But, Tom, you don't need to go to the Breeders' Cup because we want Ascot winners. So, what are the naps on day 4, starting with you?
Me, starting with me, I can't even remember. I'm so old, I can't remember. Harry Brown for me. I think he's going to win the last.
All right, Harry Brown. It is Paul Kealy.
Can't have Harry Brown now, can I? I'm going to go Dubai Mile. I'm going to go with a boil over.
Yeah, okay. I was considering going for Dubai Mile, but so you've passed on that frustration there. David Stevens.
I'm going to go for Chelsea Green in the Sandringham.
Okay, very well. And I would have gone for Dubai Mile, but let's go for Meditate to upset the odds-on shot in the Coronation then, shall we? But I'm going to go and meditate on that potential factor and see how zen we are at this time tomorrow, where we're previewing the final day of Royal Ascot 2023. Enjoy Friday. See you then.